McDowell's supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, vitamins like beta-carotene, vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417. Let your wellness be our stress.
It is well known that diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and other illnesses may restrict blood flow, which can lead to impotence and erectile dysfunction. This is why Enhance was formulated to meet these challenging health problems, which can reduce your ability to perform. If you're having problems maintaining your manhood, then reclaim your manhood today with Enhance. Enhance increases your energy level, boosts your stamina, and increases your endurance.
You can get your Enhance at Southwell VA4, Restorer Pharmacy Soufre, Knights Med Miku, Lay by Bar The Morn, Dexter's Place Jeremy Street Castries, Citygate Bar The City opposite the market, Plants Place Denry Highway, Arlette Supermarket Soufre, The Release Stress Bar Labrie Highway, Cool Joint Bar Victoria Schwazel, Prios Bus Stop 22, next to the Moshi Bus Stop, opposite the Grosley Bus Stop. Prios Bar and Grill in Corinth, Grosley.
Enhance, the best a man can get.
Why are you suffering from aches, pains, and illnesses? When there's help for you at Health Service Center, we offer a wide range of treatment that has been scientifically proven to help you with your aches, pains, and illnesses. Our ICT machine is one of the most effective devices in the health field. It has shown positive results in many health problems, such as back pains, shoulder pains, migraine headaches, pain in the knees and legs, poor circulation, arthritis, diabetic neuropathy, numbness in the feet, strokes and sports injuries. ICT, repairs, rebuild. The power to heal, the future of pain relief.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Another wonderful Friday afternoon to you, everyone. Welcome once again to The Real Issues with me, Shelton Daniel, your host and the producer. Going solo this afternoon. Terry Fennell, as you know, on Fridays is engaged elsewhere. And I'm not just talking about the program that he does on another medium in the States, but he's also a man who I think is an education consultant, and he has to travel many different places, different schools and educational facilities and putting things in place So wish you the best, Terry. Always glad when I can have you here with me, but when you're not, we fully understand. And Miguel, who is also heavily engaged otherwise, in fact, only yesterday, he was telling me that something he has to go and do in the afternoon. I said, wow, you got to do that? And he said, yeah, every day, And so it's really taking a lot out of them. They're doing it voluntarily and much self-sacrifice, which I want to put on record. Not on notice, I want to put on record my appreciation for that. Technical operator is again Alton Jaquan Joseph, and he looks like he's having a good day. It is a wonderful day, bright and sunny, but not feeling the stifling heat that you can sometimes feel on occasion. Don't know what it's going to be, but we should be easing our way out of the worst of the heat wave that we were warned about earlier this year. And we did really feel it, although I still recall that I felt nothing as bad as I did 2 years ago in 2023. I think that was the worst. And I think the figures, the records bear out that these were the highest temperatures ever recorded. But nonetheless, I think we're going to have a great program, our final one for this week. And we're happy to have you part of it. We're available on the radio station, Real FM 91.3 for the north, the frequency, and 91.5 megahertz for the south of St. Lucia. I want to make an appeal to, there's something that they call a public-spirited citizen, a citizen who takes up certain things and is concerned about them, not because they affect or benefit him personally, but because the citizen sees this as an issue. So, that citizen might go and go to court and seek an injunction because of some bad garbage storage or disposal practices that he believes is affecting school children when they're walking about the place and so on. Sometimes he has no children at school, sometimes he has no children at all. But he's a public-spirited citizen and he can see certain things can cause danger, or he sees a sidewalk which was built and he might begin to agitate and advocate and maybe litigate also for them to put some railings by the sidewalk, because he knows children are children. When they come from school, they engage in a little bit of horseplay and so on. And it's very easy for one of them to, tip over from the sidewalk, accidentally being chased by another and fall onto the road just when a vehicle is coming. So, this person, although courts do want to know when you bring actions, I think they ask you, what is your standing? Do you have standing to bring this matter? How does this matter affect you? I don't know if it's the same as locus standi, but basically they want to know that it is something in which you have a legitimate interest. And sometimes people go forward for things and they're granted legitimate interest recognition, not because they're benefiting or they stand to benefit or lose anything, but because they're public-spirited citizens. I want to appeal for us to have some more public-spirited lawyers who it's not just a matter of a brief for which they're paid, that they take up a case that a client brings to them, but they begin to come out a little more. There are lawyers who have been known for that, and you want to commend them. I think there was a lawyer called Mr. Alcid. Well, not there was. I've never heard that he's deceased. You have people like Mr. Alberton Richlow. You have people like Mr. Martinez Francois when he was really up and about. Mr. Clarence Rambali, and there are others who would come out. Richard Frederick is a very good example, and maybe the best example, a man who actually went into a radio and television program across different media. I think he started at Radio 100. I can't remember if he was also on HTS, the Can I Help You program. This was before he was a politician, before he entered active politics. This is a man who, the program speaks for itself. The very name, Can I Help You? Answering people on legal queries, legal matters, almost like he was given free general consultation on air to people, explaining to them points of law and things of that kind. So I think I've done that before, but Richard, to you, for the talk show, and for many others, Clarence Rambali, Martinez Francois, Mr. Alcid, I can't remember the first name. Those people, Mr. Alberton Richlow and so on, who would go publicly on interviews and speak and explain to people matters of law and so on. I believe, I can't remember if former magistrate Horace Fraser used to do that and so on. But people who are open, they're not just there, come to my office and the consultation is $200. They are prepared to engage people and to help with public education about the law. And I believe we need more lawyers who are minded that way. I also want to congratulate and thank a man who's not a lawyer. I don't think has ever been called to the bar, although at one time he was known to be undertaking studies in law. I believe, I can't be too sure about that maybe health challenges got in the way at some point. Mr. Claudius J. Francis, the present Speaker of the House, who because of his line of work in the insurance industry, in politics and now in Parliament, has had the necessity laid upon him to do a lot of legal research and reading and so on, and is always prepared to share his knowledge with people. We need more people like that. I know it is said that knowledge is power, and maybe maintaining a certain mystique about your body of knowledge, maybe remaining cagey makes you more powerful, because it is said that in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. So perhaps there are those who feel that way. But when questions arise on constitutional matters, such as, yesterday, good thing I'd read the Constitution and I knew that there was this part which said that the Governor General will appoint on the advice of, well, I don't think on any advice, but that member, elected member of the House, who appears to him most likely to command the support of the majority of those who do not support the government, But then the question is, if there is no opposition member, every member of the House of Assembly that has been elected supports the government, they are members of the government side, then who is the government? Well, there's nobody to appoint as leader of the opposition, but the opposition senators, there are always 3 of them, who are appointed by the Governor General after consultation with the leader of the opposition. And if there's no leader of the opposition to consult with, these are the kind of things. I don't want to be lazy. I don't want the responsibility and the necessity taken off me to make those queries and to ask questions about them, or any media person. But I believe we also need to have proactive experts, legal experts, lawyers, who can call in, who can express an opinion, not necessarily here, although I prefer if you would do it here, since I'm the one seeking to bail the cat, and to call a program and to say, Shelton, in the event that there is no leader of the opposition in the House of Assembly, the Governor General can still appoint 3 opposition senators in his own, deliberate judgment or something like that. We need people, who are prepared to engage with the public, not in any debate, not in any argument, because, before you come out and people believe that you are leaning to one side, or they know you lean to one side, you're well-intentioned. It is said that no good deed ever goes unpunished. That your good intentions, your public spiritedness becomes interpreted as something else, and before you know it, is a mepui, is your pache hadsal, is what they know about you, is a quarrel, is an invective, is an insult, and so on. There's just too much of that. And that is why I agree with those who say that the recent moves by a certain lawyer formerly associated with the ruling party, a former government minister, that this is not calling for unleashing a ton of bricks on him. This is not for tumbling down on him and so on and going after him with venom and so on. And I want to appeal to my brethren, my comrades, the Labour Party people, try to take your cue from your political leader. You see the calm with which Philip J. Pierre dealt with the matter, as far as I know, is still a member of the party, and XYZ and so on. And it is everybody's right. It's his democratic right. It's his constitutional right. Try to take your cue from the mood, from the disposition, from the tenor and tempo of your political leader. He doesn't seem to be agitated. He's not bothered about it. I haven't heard Honorable Richard Frederick, who is, the person that Stanley Felix will likely come up against if he continues as an independent in the race and so on. He doesn't seem to be bothered. So don't you get hot under the collar, too quickly especially, so that you end up spinning out antagonistic and hateful and combative, kind of things, like you're ready to take off your shirt to fight with somebody. Don't do this kind of thing. There comes a time in the politics, yes, you gotta do like, you are really, how do you call that, a pugilist, somebody who comes out with their fists clenched and so on, and they're ready to land some blows and take some blows too. But I don't think we're at that stage. I don't think what has been said. You notice my only 2 questions to Stanley Felix, obliquely. What is the betrayal that you went through? I'm told he answered it, or he kind of said what was he expecting, etc., etc. I don't know if he actually said it, but I'm told something about qualifying for pension and disappointments and so on. Maybe he didn't. People say all sorts of things, and I'm done trying to follow every single exchange and discussion and so on. It's just too taxing sometimes. And also to what is the betrayal that you experience and from whom? And the second thing, in what way is Central Castries suffocating that you want to help Central Castries breathe again? What has been suffocating Central Castries? Who has been suffocating Central Castries? And how are you going to unsuffocate, desuffocate, give them some breathing room and some breathing space and so on again? These are the only two questions that I've really had to ask. But I want to appeal again. Public-spirited lawyers, advocates. Sometimes you may not be a courtroom advocate. You may have just a law degree. You've never been called to the bar, but you have an understanding about legal matters and principles. Come on, man. Engage with the public. Educate people. We're all the better for it. So that people do not move about under this cloud of ignorance, which can have a lot of undesirable, unpalatable consequences for us all. The other people that I want to ask of are public officers who hold positions where they can bring clarity to certain things. And even ministers, all this thing about the CDP funds and who's using it and how they're using it. And they have those city. I cannot for the life of me believe that any government, no matter how it wants to show itself to be politically equitable and that it is not biased and that it is not victimizing and so on, money's had to come by from people's taxes and from CIP and from other means and so on. When you're releasing money that may well have been sourced from the CIP to Alan Shasley, albeit for Mikusa, who has been trying his best, in my opinion, to destroy the CIP, there better be some agreed formula, some agreed mechanism, some agreed procedure for accounting for that money. Gabby, okay, give you $100,000 every month or every quarter or whatever it is, and do as you please with it and spend it on who you want and hire whichever contractor. Come on, man. Come on. You're going to give Alan Chastney or anybody else $100,000 to spend on what? On a sidewalk, and you don't know what is the standard, whether those sidewalks are being built according to specifications, according to code in terms of the steel, so that it doesn't collapse under, some school children running on it and they're breaking their leg, or that has happened in Antigua many years ago before the World Cup. The then government of Baldwin Spencer wanted to, same thing they were doing in St. Lucia, the small contracts thing and so on, giving a whole lot of people a set of small contracts without paying attention. What is the competence of those people? What is their experience? What is their track record? Do they have the resources? Do they have the equipment? Do they have, the proper people to hire to do it? And, they went about building sidewalks. Some of them were too high. Some of them were at different levels, so you could easily trip on them and so on. Some they went and they put the formwork in those sidewalks, the cardboard, whatever that you put so you can pour the concrete, not cardboard, plywood and so on. And with no thought about how you're going to take it out. So you had the sidewalk, and then the formwork stays underneath the thing, and they do it in a way that you can't take it out. So that formwork itself, the plywood and all of that, and the wood and so on, was collapsing as it would after some time, absorbing water and just with aging, rotting and so on. And that itself was blocking the drain. You can't pull it out. It was a whole galmacha, that went on there. And I think it's only now they're demolishing some of them. All these years after, almost 20 years after Cricket World Cup 2007, to have to go and to try to see how they can rehabilitate. And I'm making this point to say, look, man, you can't be giving people money to go and do sidewalk or whatever it is they do with the money. Where do they get the approval from? To me, you go and do concrete and steel, any kind of concrete and steel project. You have to do it according to certain specifications and certain codes, which must be approved by some authority, whether it's the Ministry of Physical Planning, Physical Development, or whatever the name is that is supposed to say, okay, we approve of that. Okay, this is being done in this way. What is the credentials of the people who are going to build it? Are they competent? Are they capable of building that? I mean, you can't just let somebody loose. Go and build road, whether it's concrete road or whatever it is. And next thing you know, the road itself is causing a catastrophe. Or build a retaining wall and retaining wall collapses just when some fellas are sitting by it on a table to play some dominoes and the four of them get crushed and so on. You know this kind of thing. So I cannot see people getting money under the CDP. And there's absolutely no kind of oversight no kind of stipulations about how they go about spending it, what they spend it on, what are the attendant requirements of materials, of processes, of established, practices and so on. But how is that accountability channeled? How is that oversight exercised? And I feel by now somebody, whether it is, to show how the money is accounted for. Okay, Alan Chastney got $400,000 in a year or whatever it is. How does he account for use of the money? To whom does he account? Is it to the Ministry of Finance? Is it to the Ministry of Local Government? Is it to the Accountant General? Is it to who is it? Without me having to chase you down or anybody, whether it's Director of Audit, whether it is, somebody should have come out by now and explain what the mechanism of accounting for it and what the mechanism for getting approval for whatever you seek to spend it on. You can't just go and just build things and do things, just like that. Sometimes a place you decide to go and build a house for somebody, it may be owned by the crown, there may be some other plan they have for it. It can be for an access road or something, not because you're the MP, you're just supposed to do it. So I want to appeal. Just like I'm appealing for the public-spirited lawyers and advocates, etc., to join in the public education of the people, I'm also appealing to those who are representing public bodies and public servants, whatever, even if you need the okay of your minister, to come out and educate people and explain to them those CDP funds, how they're accounted for and how approval is obtained for whatever projects they are spent on, how they're executed, and to ensure that they're done in a manner that is within the stipulations and bounds of public safety, all right, and public well-being and public interest. I hope I'm making sense. I think I should. Now, yesterday you heard me talking about Alan Chastney's final, decisive, no way out, no further appeal, defeat at the CCG. Final court, no way you're taking that again. You can try to reintroduce it or do any kind of thing. And since you're always running to court for everything and for injunction and for this and for that against Claudius, I do hope if ever you try to bring that foolishness back up in the parliament again, that Speaker Claudius Francis decisively stops you and tells you this matter has been litigated to the extent that it can be litigated, and bringing it up in the parliament again is really an abuse of the parliamentary privilege. It really is an abuse of the right to speak and your freedom of expression, even within the confines of a sovereign parliament. I do hope, as done, that this matter is done and dusted. It's dead and buried. And I do hope that Alan Chastney is going to call a press conference or some kind of thing to explain to the public and to his party how he and his lawyers too could have gotten it so wrong to have taken something like that all the way up to our apex court, the CCG, and then to get only egg on your face, to get only a judicial black eye, to get only a final legal bloody nose on this matter. But I'm not holding my breath, that you'll leave Ernest Delay alone. I think you'll go after him again in some other way. You don't hate a man so much for so long, since the days of Cricket World Cup, which I just referenced and so on. You have a beef against the man. You were bad-talking World Cup, everything. And it's only when this Martinez thing and all came out, I realized this enmity, this hatred, it goes way, way, way back, It goes way back. Now, it's your right, to hate anybody you want. It's all right not to like. Not everybody is going to be our kettle of fish. Not everybody is going to be, somebody that we like or we want anything with them. But when you do it in a manner that engages the public time, that engages the public temperament, that engages even the national treasury of the country, where we have so many other things to do. Although I know this last thing there, you said it was your own money that you were spending. That even a judge, one of our apex court judges, can say, look, we have so much to do. We have so much to look into. What is this thing? Why did this thing even have to reach here? It's an abuse. It's a waste of judicial resources. This thing was never going anywhere. That is essentially what Justice Barrow was saying. And when I heard this, I am hoping that another of Alan Shastney's attempts to get at Ernest Hilaire, that it will be soon dead in the water, as this thing against the controller of customs was yesterday or day before killed. And not just killed, killed, because there's a country way now where you can die alive and you can die dead, right? I hope that this one will also be killed dead in the water as well, that injunction. And we need to go through it. That injunction was filed just before independence, around the 20th, 21st of February 2025. And when people go file those things, you know how much the man had to pay for that? You know how much the man had to pay for that? $42, $42 to file that kind of thing. But unlike a type of injunction which they call an ex parte injunction, which is that they don't need to hear an answer from the other side, that the person who files for the injunction can convince the court that the issue at hand is of such urgency that they believe Shelton Daniel, for example, is going to come on this program and say something which is so damaging that while you could sue him, the damage of what he says going out there, that some bailiff or police can arrive there with an ex parte injunction filed by somebody who wants to stop me from going on air because they have reason to believe that I'm going to say something that is so damaging that it will be virtually irreparable. It cannot be cured by any action subsequent to the stop. That's an example I'm giving. It's not maybe a good one. And so there's the ex parte injunction, which really means a one-sided injunction. And then there's the type of injunction which requires a hearing, which requires both sides to present their arguments and their cases. Alan Shastney's injunction against the CIP, against Ernest Hilaire, again, as the minister responsible for the CIP, and I think against Galaxy Investments, that he has a particular bone for, particular beef with, even though Galaxy came to St. Lucia while he was prime minister, and a lot of concessions and things he gave them, it was he who gave it to them, including all this thing about lowering the price of an application from 200 to cutting it in half. From 200,000 to 100,000. Something which another prime minister in the OEC has described as a race to the bottom. Did all this kind of things, but now he wants to come. Let's hear this. In the matter of the Citizenship by Investment Act, number 14 of 2015 of the Laws of St. Lucia, the Act, and in the matter of the Citizenship by Investment Regulations as amended of the Laws of St. Lucia, the regulations between Alan Shastney in his personal capacity and in his capacity as parliamentary representative for Miku South, is the claimant, and Ernest Hilaire. What else is new? He only filed that after the Martinez thing failed, When he realized the Martinez thing was going nowhere, it had crashed and burned, that Martinez had bungled this whole thing and he had failed in what he was trying and so on because he never stood on any solid premises. Martinez poorly executed this thing, and I think the death blow was dealt by the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Terence Drew, who came to basically expose Martinez as a fraud, as a blackmailer, as a shyster, as a guy who's trying to come and blackmail St. Kitts and Nevis to pay him $40 million so he cannot go to court and all of that. Martinez failed, he realized. So then Shastney decides, Martinez is a failed project. He failed to carry out the assignment, and so I have to come and do it myself. So he comes out. Ernest Hilaire, having responsibility for the Citizenship by Investment Program, the first defendant, and the Citizenship by Investment Board, the second defendant. Notice of application for interlocutory injunction. The claimant, Alan Shastney of Rodney Bay in the quarter of Grosile in the state of St. Lucia, applies for the following orders pending the trial and resolution of the claim herein, namely, an injunction against the first defendant, restraining the first defendant in his capacity as minister having responsibility for the Citizenship by Investment Program, CIP, whether by himself, his servants or agents or otherwise, howsoever, from approving or granting citizenship by investment to any applicant whose investment is in respect of an approved real estate project being developed by Caribbean Galaxy Real Estate Limited, Galaxy, for which the full investment sum has not been paid as required by law or in respect of any investment into the Caribbean Galaxy Real Estate Limited. Now, you remember that was the same thing Martinez was harping about, how St. Lucia is undercharging. They are discounting illegally the money for the CIP, which is supposed to be charging. They're underpricing the CIP. And I'm just wondering, who holds responsibility for deciding whether you want to charge, I don't know. But he thinks he has a case. Martinez even said that he was going to take that to a court in the US and classify it as a RICO lawsuit. What does racketeering influence whatever corrupt organization or something, whatever he was filing in Florida? So now, Alan Chastney realized the RICO in Florida, because the United States was everything. This guy wants to report St. Lucia to the United States to see if he can get the United States to turn on St. Lucia and to put pressure on St. Lucia. So now he has eaten some humble pie. Since the Martinez thing crashed and burned, he's trying it in our local courts, in our OECS courts, which he apparently did not regard enough to take it there in the first place. For which the full investment sum has not been paid as required by law, or in respect of any investment into the Caribbean Galaxy Real Estate Limited, National Infrastructure Improvement Program, and the BMAX LLC, BMAX Rock Hall Housing Development Project, together the purported enterprise projects, and an injunction against the second defendant, restraining the second defendant, whether by itself or its servants or agents or otherwise, howsoever, from processing, approving, or granting any application for citizenship by investment to or in respect of any application whose investment is in respect of any investment in the Galaxy Real Estate Project for which the full investment sum has not been paid as required by law or in respect of any investment into the purported enterprise projects. The affidavit of Alan Chastney is filed herewith in support of this application. And then the next part is the grounds. I'll probably skim for that. What are the grounds that he has, and so on. But it's my understanding that this injunction has not been granted. There's supposed to be some kind of hearing at which, the pros and cons, the merits and demerits, the for and against will be heard. That has not yet happened. So if what the person who told me who I think should know what they're talking about, that injunction has not yet taken effect, it is my hope, it is my expectation that this thing will be brushed aside, that this thing will be tossed out, as we say in our Creole, that the court will flone this thing away, fling this thing out, as in fact the CCJ made short shrift of that thing of the Ernest Hilaire's Range Rover and this and that, and whether the controller of customs had the authority to discontinue the case against Hilaire and all this sort of thing. CCJ threw that and said, a waste of time. It's my hope, it's my desire, it's my wish that the same fate will befall this silly injunction, which was merely intended to do what Martinez had been put up to do, but he failed so miserably. Real Issues powered by Blue Waters. Don't go away. We'll be back shortly.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
McDowell's Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, vitamins like beta-carotene, vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417. Let your wellness be our stress.
It is well known that diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and other illnesses may restrict blood flow, which can lead to impotence and erectile dysfunction. This is why Enhance was formulated to meet these challenging health problems, which can reduce your ability to perform. If you're having problems maintaining your manhood, then reclaim your manhood today with Enhance. Enhance increases your energy level, boosts your stamina, and increases your endurance.
You can get your Enhance at Southwell VA4, Restorer Pharmacy Soufre, Knights Med Miku, Lay by Bar The Morn, Dexter's Place Jeremy Street Castries, Citygate Bar The CDC opposite the market, Plants Place Denry Highway, Arlette Supermarket Soufre, The Release Stress Bar Labrie Highway, Cool Joint Bar Victoria Schwazel, Prios Bus Stop 22, next to the Moshi Bus Stop opposite the Grosley Bus Stop. Prios Bar and Grill in Corinth, Grosley.
Enhance, the best a man can get.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Appreciate you tuning in to and staying with the Real Issues powered by Blue Waters on this Friday, the 17th of October, 2025. It's Fetla Marguerite, so don't think that my blue is coincidence, okay? Yeah, my blue is an acknowledgement and to show my support for Fetla Marguerite, one of the two flower festivals. And you know, I got also my little water flask and so on, which is the right color. Have I ever showed that off before? I don't think I ever did, you know, but today is a special day. Today is a blue day. Honorable Stevenson King, today is a good day for your blue wave and all the people of Castries North who support you, really making an impact. By the way, congratulations for you, Honorable Richard Frederick, and the Prime Minister and others who organized this joint community meeting at the Mondino School earlier this week. For reasons that I wouldn't divulge, because I often get rebukes for giving too much information and giving too many ideas to opponents and so on. I agree. Why should I tell rivals what the secret of strength is? But I think it was just genius. And I believe more of that needs to happen in other places. I won't say what those places are. But I think it's genius, that joint community meeting, especially considered that it involves two independents and two heavy hitters as part of the present government of St. Lucia and the makeup of the cabinet, the senior minister and the absolutely always on fire MP for Central Castries. Let's get back to this judicial review that Alan Chasney filed for about the CIP, the grounds. The claimant has filed proceedings for judicial review in respect of or in relation to A, the illegal and or unlawful and or unreasonable administration and operation of the CIP by the board generally. the illegal and or unlawful and or, me say I really need and or say, administration and operation of the CIP in relation to the approved real estate project being developed by Galaxy. C. The illegal and or unlawful and or and or unreasonable approval or failure to properly or adequately regulate and prohibit the grant of citizenship by investment, sometimes described as the sale of passports. All of a sudden, trying to, waste down the CIP is described as the sale of passports. When you were there, it was not, As the sale of passports at discounted rates as low as $65,000, significantly below the legally mandated, the prevailing minimum for CIP investments in approved real estate projects being developed by Galaxy. The illegal and or unlawful and or unreasonable implementation and or administration by the defendants of the so-called infrastructure option, being option 3 contained in paragraph 3 of Schedule 2 to the regulations relating to investments in an approved enterprise project within the meaning of the Act, an enterprise project by individuals and qualifying dependents, the infrastructure option. E. The illegal and or unlawful and or unreasonable approval by the first defendant of the purported enterprise projects or either of them as qualifying investments in an enterprise project. F. The ultra-virus and or illegal and or unlawful and or unreasonable approval. And ultra-virus means acting outside of your legal authority, okay, or beyond your legal authority and so on. The ultra-virus and or illegal and or unlawful and or unreasonable approval and award by the first defendant for the purported enterprise projects or either of them in contravention of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, the PPADA, and or the Finance Administration Act, the Finance Act, and the illegal and or unlawful and or unreasonable publication on September 12, 2024 in the Extraordinary Gazette edition by the second defendant of the purported approval of the purported enterprise projects. The second defendant has unlawfully approved and signed an agreement between the Citizenship by Investment Board and Galaxy, which authorizes and requires Galaxy in connection with the approved real estate project known as the Canal Resort Project. Note I said Canela and not Canals. Known as the Canal Resort Project, to cause to be submitted by an authorized agent a minimum of 200 successful applications per month to the Citizenship by Investment Unit, the CIU, but not to exceed 5,000 successful applications over 24 months from the commencement date. This represented an increase from 700 applications that was originally approved by the government in relation to the Canal Resort Project, and the increased number of applications that Galaxy is now authorized to submit under that agreement bears no reasonable relationship to and far exceeds the reasonable projected cost of the said project. And I'm looking at this word reasonable. What is reasonable? You see how it has moved from what is allegedly a departure from the law, from what is legally stipulated, to what is reasonable. Does this man understand what is lawfully obligatory, a legal obligation, legally binding obligation, and what is a matter of policy, discretionary government policy? Does he understand the difference? Do his lawyers guide him in that? That just because you don't agree with something and it represents a policy departure does not mean it's a violation of the law. But of course, the court will decide that. The defendants have illegally, unlawfully, and or unreasonably authorized, approved, sanctioned, and processed the sale of passports at rates as low as $65,000, significantly below the legally mandated minimum of $200,000 for CIP investments in approved real estate projects. These unauthorized discounts were offered as part of agreements with developers like Galaxy in violation of the CIP regulations and have served to undermine the integrity of the CIP and deprive the state of revenues that should properly have derived from the lawful operation and administration of the CIP by way of the legally available options for investment. Doesn't that sound like Martinez? He's pleading our own case for us, that the government is depriving us of money, that we should have made so much more money, but we are discounting it and we are underselling it. And so the treasury of St. Lucia is being robbed. Is Martinez, who has to bring a case like that for St. Lucia. In the time that Alan Shastney filed this injunction, if there was anything to be legally afraid of, I think the lawyers like to use the word frightened. What would have been easier for the government but to go to Parliament and change the law, to bring it in line with the things that he's protesting and so on? And if the government changes the law, what is he going to get out of that? They're going to give him some money, to say, okay, the government hurt Alan Shastney and they disappointed him and so on. So here's, a few $1 million like Martinez wanted and so on. I don't think so. But anyway, by permitting, sanctioning, preferring, or refusing to reprimand, prohibit, or punish the underselling of these passport investments, the defendants knowingly undermine the ability of the state to generate direct revenues from the donation option by way of the National Economic Fund. The defendants have further permitted the said developer Galaxy to abuse the escrow account managed by it, where funds from discounted passport sales were held. And I keep reading that and I'm wondering, okay, they undersold the country, we didn't get money and so on. They allowed Galaxy to run amok and this kind of thing. Where is the legal violation in that you're going to be suing for and so on? Where is all of that? I'm just wondering, is there not the executive power to waive certain things or to vary certain things? Or are you so tightly bound by something which says that the developer which comes in St. Lucia must deposit $1 million, whatever, and that in a case that the Minister for Finance or the Minister for Investment decides in particular circumstances, whatever, economy is struggling post-COVID, whatever, so okay, let's reduce it to 70,000. Okay, you say they have undersold. I'm just wondering, where does that become something that holds a legal, implication that you can go and sue for it? But like I said, time will tell. These accounts, which are not under any government control, are being used to bypass minimum price requirements and direct funds toward Galaxy. Political debate and political disagreement being brought to court for some legal redress or something. Things that are matters of policy and debate and disagreement in the parliament and the political platform. Why you think that, some legal remedy that the court has to apply to that? Do courts really get involved in those kind of things? Anyway, are being used to bypass minimum price requirements and direct funds toward Galaxy rather than to the public purse or to the purpose for which the passports were allocated to Galaxy to be sold, namely the development of a touristic resort development. The second defendant has wrongfully failed to discharge its functions under the Act to make or issue regulations or guidelines relative to investments in an enterprise project generally and specifically in relation to qualifying investments in enterprise projects specified in the schedule to the regulations. No regulations or guidelines have been issued in relation to the infrastructure option, and there is currently in place no rules or procedures relative to the implementation, regulation, or administration of applications under or investments made pursuant to the infrastructure option. And again, I have to ask myself, is this man asking the court to take over the functions of the cabinet in issuing cabinet conclusions and cabinet directives? Is he going to take over the functions of the parliament in passing laws and statutory instruments and whatever it is we call them? Is he asking the court to take over the functions of the CIP and so on, which are to be overseen by the government and the cabinet and the Ministry of Investment? CIP is not an independent body that you cannot inquire, the government or the cabinet cannot give directives on. I don't know about that. I know there are certain bodies that are what you call constitutional bodies, like the DPP's office, that no minister can give directives to the DPP and say do this or do that, in a certain way. If you want to remove a DPP, it has to go through certain processes and so on. That's what I understand. But I do not know that the CIP unit or the Citizenship by Investment Board or whatever, that they are subject to those kind of things, that the court will tell them that you were supposed to charge the person and you did not charge the person, this and that. I don't know. I don't know that courts become involved in administrative nitty-gritty of giving directives. I don't know, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this will be a resounding victory for Shastney, just that he had a resounding victory at the CCJ a couple of days ago. I don't know. Maybe this will be massive. Maybe it will be a Martinez, that could have been, that might have been, that would have been, that coulda, woulda, shoulda, that was not, and Shasta will bring it to come to pass as a reality. Guidelines are required by Section 71F of the Act to be issued by the board in respect of its jurisdiction under the Act. In particular, Section 32 of the Act provides that for the purposes of qualifying investments under the Act, an application may be considered when all the requisite criteria in relation to financial resources are satisfied by the applicant pursuant to such guidelines. You know, I read this thing about the grounds for that request for judicial review and so on. And to me, it sounds like Shasta is preaching. Like he's preaching to the court. Like he's giving them some kind of lecture about government and administration and how it may be and so on. And then when the courts come, they cut right to the chase. What are the facts and what is the law putting into that? And how do these things relate? How do the facts relate to the law? And how does the law relate to the facts? And whether there is any real legal issue at stake, something for the courts to inquire into. You know, he's a guy which I think one judge once, I think Martinez Francois had brought something against, what was it? The Rochamel thing, whatever it was. And one of the lines I remember from the appeal court's judgment was that Martinez argued a surfeit of irrelevance. Alan Shasta has to bring this long thing where he has to bring some long lecture instead of just condensing it to say, look, the CIP board did not abide by its own regulations. And this thing, whatever violates the CIP Act, it went against it. And this is the grounds on which it went against it. And to just say that, he seems to always feel he has to go into a long... And I say him, because I suspect rather than Shastner's lawyers instructing him and guiding him, that he, because it's his money, that he's dictating to them, that he's telling them, look, this is what to put in. The same way he tried to badge in on the CCJ's initial hearing of the matter. The same way he tried to get crash when he had lawyers, top lawyers representing him. He felt he had to go and poke his head in and to say his bit. And eventually the president of the court told him, look, we thought it was something else you were coming up with that maybe we had overlooked. But what you're coming up there, it's already sufficiently pleaded and it's already sufficiently entered and noted and whatever, in the case that has been submitted on your behalf by very capable lawyers. So, we don't think your intervention here is necessary. And when I read this thing, I said, it looks like the same thing with this chap. He wants basically to, and this is the thing when you're a spoiled kid, when you're an affluenza afflicted kid, you have so much wealth, so much affluence that it becomes a type of flu, a disease that affects you because you're powerful. Is your money at stake? This looks like, a whole epistle of preaching and so on, as opposed to cutting to the chase. What is your legal issue here? Okay, the government has underpriced the thing and they have gone against the law. They have violated the law and whatever it says and so on. Isn't that sufficient? And you cite the applicable law and what was said and so on. It's like a whole sort of lecturing and so on that has to go on there. You don't believe the judges, they will know where to look. They'll know what laws and what acts and what regulations to look into and so on. There's a whole lot of thing going on there. Like the very same thing he would have said in the parliament and on the political platform and at a press conference and on a talk show. He wants to make that the sum of his submission to the court for a judicial review. And that is what they're saying again. You're taxing judicial time and judicial resources too much, unnecessarily. Anyway, I think I've read enough of this. And I think you've heard enough of it. But I wait, and I have the confidence that this thing will be disposed of. This thing will be dispatched, dispensed, thrown out, dismissed. In even shorter shrift than that thing about Ernest Hiller's Range Rover and whatever that they were pleased to call Rover Gate and so on. Where's the gate now? The gate closed in your face now? Come on, hold a press conference now. Explain to the public how you failed so miserably in this fishing expedition, in this misconceived quest for yet another round of vendetta against Hiller. And I'm saying that this injunction thing that you filed or whatever for judicial review in February, it will suffer the same fate. It will go the same way. It will end up being tossed out. It will end up being pissed upon from a height. Real Issues powered by Blue Waters. I think it's time to open the phone lines. I think it's past time, really. The telephone numbers that you can reach us on. You can WhatsApp call us on 758-487-9849. That's the number on which you can WhatsApp call us, 487-9849. You can also reach us on the landline, which is 4533-911. And don't forget, you can send us your WhatsApp messages by going to the websites realfmofficial.com or mbcslu.com, and you will see the WhatsApp messaging links there that you can click on. The message box will open. You can type your message, you hit the send button, and it will come to us in real time. Don't forget that. We're getting our first call already. Real Issues, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Shelton.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Don't go. We're trying to see. Yeah, are you there? Oh, we lost that call. Okay. All right. I'm sorry, caller, if it was a problem on our end, but I wasn't hearing you well. And then when we tried to see what was it, the call seemed to have dropped. Is that showing the person is still on the line there? Okay. Maybe they made it back to us. Caller, you're on the air. Real Issues.
Hi.
Hello?
Hi, Shelton.
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, hold on a second. Something is not working well there. Hold on. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there's still a lot of static on the line. Hello?
Yeah, we're having difficulty hearing you. I don't know why. Yes, just stay there a while. Let's see. All right. Okay. I think we lost the call again. Yeah. All right. Hi, caller. Are you there?
Yes.
All right. Okay. I'm hearing you better now.
Okay. Shelton, I'm just a little bit curious. Yesterday, when you read that judgment against by the CCJ against Alan Shastney's appeal of the comptroller withdrawing the case against Ernest Hilaire, one of the things that you read was that the CCJ mentioned that Alan Shastney didn't file a case to challenge the decision of the magistrate in the first instance, but he filed the case to challenge the comptroller's decision to withdraw the case,
Right.
which was something to the effect, I think the word was merged
Right.
with the magistrate's decision.
Right.
Now, again, curious, does that mean that Alan Shastney can still challenge the magistrate's decision?
If the CCJ has upheld that the magistrate's decision was proper and that it merged well with the decision of the controller of customs, I mean, that's our apex court. I can't see how we can bring that thing again.
No, but you see, my question is, well, I don't know. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but the thing is, he appealed against the comptroller's decision to withdraw the case. That was the comptroller.
All right.
Which is why I'm asking, and again, since the CCJ said he didn't challenge the magistrate's decision, he challenged the comptroller's decision to withdraw the case. And this is why I'm wondering, I'm curious as to whether he can now go ahead and challenge the magistrate's appeal, the magistrate's decision.
I don't see how we can.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see how we can.
Okay.
I mean, basically, there is a principle which I think, again, I have to mention. It is called res judicata, that the matter has been decided upon and pronounced upon by your highest possible court. Now, what that principle seeks to do is for people to come back and to introduce the same cases that have already been decided and that the issues are basically the same, and to go back and relitigate them all over again. You understand? So I think this matter has been done and dusted by your highest possible court to say, okay, I didn't do it right, on this occasion, so let me go back and do it right, when it has already been comprehensively and exhaustively pronounced upon by not just your Supreme Court, but your Intermediate Appeals Court, by your High Court and so on. In other words, you have lost at every step of the way. For you now to go on to try to cure your pleadings by going back to the initial foundation of the case, when it has already been ruled that the magistrate was right, the controller of customs was right, but now you're going to remove the controller of customs and to go by the magistrate, when the principle of merger has already been pronounced upon and determined that it applied. What you are trying to do now is to unmerge, you understand, what has already been merged, and to split hairs and to split the atom and so on, so that you can have a favorable side of it already when the whole thing has been regarded as a merged case. I would find that very difficult to do.
Okay, understood.
Yeah. All right, we have another call on the line. Real issue. Oops. All right. Okay, sorry, we have to take the break right now. Real Issues powered by Blue Waters. We'll be back to take more of your calls and your messages. And I think the problem with the telephone that we had on the first couple of calls, that it has been resolved.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
McDowell's Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, vitamins like beta-carotene of vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417. Let your wellness be our stress.
It is well known that diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and other illnesses may restrict blood flow, which can lead to impotence and erectile dysfunction. This is why Enhance was formulated to meet these challenging health problems, which can reduce your ability to perform. If you're having problems maintaining your manhood, then reclaim your manhood today with Enhance. Enhance increases your energy level, boosts your stamina, and increases your endurance.
You can get your Enhance at Southwell VA4, Restorer Pharmacy Soufre, Knights Med Miku, Lay by Bar The Morn, Dexter's Place Jeremy Street Castries, Citygate Bar The City opposite the market, Plants Place Denry Highway, Arlette Supermarket Soufre, The Release Stress Bar Labrie Highway, Cool Joint Bar Victoria Schwazel, Prios Bus Stop 22, next to the Moshi Bus Stop opposite the Grosley Bus Stop. Prios Bar and Grill in Corinth, Grosley.
Enhance, the best a man can get.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Real Issues powered by Blue Waters is on, and our telephone lines are open for your calls. 487-9849 is the WhatsApp line number. 487-9849, area code 758, of course. And you can also reach us on the landline, which is 4533911, or send us your text messages via realfmofficial.com and mbcslu.com. You can click on the messaging links there and then type your message, hit the send button, and it is going to reach us straight away. We have a lot of messages coming in. Let me see if I can get... There's an annual general meeting that is going to be held on Wednesday, October 22nd at the Beanfield Secondary School from 5 p.m. for the V4 South Constituency Annual General Meeting, and it will feature the endorsed candidate for V4 South, Mr. Danny Butcher. The guest speaker will be Senator Lisa Jawahi, who is herself the endorsed candidate for Castries Southeast, and Honorable Dr. Kenny Anthony will also be featured. He's the current MP for V4 South. He is past Prime Minister of St. Lucia, and by the way, he's been MP continuously since 1997. You do the math. We have someone on the line. Real Issues.
Bonjour, Monsieur Shelton.
Bonjour pour une nouvelle aujourd'hui.
Muy bon.
All right.
Just let you know, don't library. Yes. Yeah. I'm just listening. I was following Richard last night, and I'm just wondering to myself, Shelton. I mean, more and more that guys literally digging their own grave. They say, there's a saying that say, whosoever diggeth a pit shall fall in it, and I'm saying that's exactly what happening to these guys. And I'm saying to myself, but come on, anybody who is wise, anybody just thinking. A wise emotion would see that. Why would you support guys like that? I mean, even if every year the apology is not genuine, and did Chico really say that for true? Because at first I thought he was just joking. I mean, these guys wouldn't stop at nothing. Yes. So you don't even have to campaign against them because they are already campaigning against their own selves. And how can somebody follow that? Like the famous saying, how can you form a government with this? Yeah, I'm just appealing to all Lucians. I'm just appealing to everyone. Whenever that Monday come, yes, let us turn out. Because at the end of the day, crowds don't win election. We learned that already. Kenya the biggest crowd on the record, yes, and we lose the election the following day. So don't just come in these crowds. We have to turn out in our numbers to come and vote. So I'm just appealing to everyone. All right, Shelton. Have a good one. Bye.
Because when I drive in heavy traffic, I kind of tell myself, look, owning a vehicle, having a vehicle is supposed to be something that's liberating. It's supposed to have a certain freedom. But I feel so trapped. I feel so much like a prisoner. I feel so, hemmed in and, helpless. There's nothing you can do. The traffic is at a crawl. You cannot see more than a vehicle or two in front of you to know what is happening. And it's not just that it happens, it's the frequency. It's like if you live up north, you have to deal with that daily. I don't live in that part, but I wonder about people who have to do that daily commute and so on. It's a practically dysfunctional situation, but what we can take comfort in is that steps are being taken, including the securing of funding to do something about that and to solve the problem. We know who caused it. We have another call on the line. Real Issues, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Sheldon, what's up? Good afternoon.
How are you doing? Good afternoon.
I'm quiet. The last caller made a slight error when he said that Kenya had the biggest crowd and he lost the election. That's not true. That was in '97.
Yeah.
It was a landslide.
Yeah, that's true.
I just want to keep the former base fact the caller to have him on track, right? And we ready and ready, my brother. Things will happen.
What part of the country you calling from?
I'm calling from Cicero.
Okay. So you say in Cicero, that's Castro South, that you're ready and ready?
Ready and ready, my brother.
All right.
Most definitely.
I wouldn't doubt you.
I'm letting you know all our roads have been fixed for a carpet.
Yes.
All right. Our minister has delivered.
Okay, my buddy.
Okay? Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I would bless you, my brother.
Okay, you as well. Having been born August 30th, today is not a good day. So that's a Lawas telling me that this Fetla Margaret, they don't make people Margaret to call you and sing for you. I Lawas, me no. This Guaye song, this choky kind of song that the Margarets put on the Lawas people. No matter all the so many that they overwhelm the Margaret people with about Wadlow and so on. That one alone has sufficient taunting value about it, that it might burn you more than all the others. The no right turn sign is in effect. However, traffic congestion now starts at the Massey Mega roundabout until Computer World building. I travel this route every morning. Yeah, I know. It's really, but it depends on what time of the day. Coming down, going up and so on. At certain times, it's heavier than others, but not nice. You're on the air, caller. Go ahead.
Hi, good day. I am no lawyer, but based on what was read and based on what was said and what you said earlier about the Alan Chastney case, because the gentleman asked if the other aspect of it can be challenged. But to me, as far as I can see from a layman point of view, is that, as the judge said, whatever the comptroller decided necessary for the judge decided. So that is again issue as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
Because even if it's a challenge the your decision, that very same understanding would come up. So to me, it does not. If you consider the same thing, it will be a dismissal. It will be a dismissal. I may be wrong, but you will come up with the same conclusion.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing I want to share with people, elections is on the horizon. We have to be very vigilant. As the gentleman said a while ago, crowd does not cut it. Crowd don't cut it. We have to make sure everybody goes out to vote. And make sure the persons who are working in the constituency offices familiarize themselves with the voters' list. That is critical. Know your members, know your people, know your voters.
Indeed.
That is the most important thing. This is where you win your election. That's voters' list. Because at the end of the day, you want votes to be duplicated or false ballots being put in there and then you have no idea. You understand?
Yes.
The voters' list is a critical, is the election by-down. This is what determines you win that election, the voters' list.
Okay.
So there's a proper tally of what is happening. Anyway, have a good day.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Folks, you've been hearing me saying a lot about this. Res judicata is a legal principle, meaning a matter judged, that prevents the same parties from relitigating a claim that has already been a final judgment. This doctrine, also called claim preclusion, promotes the finality of judgments and conserves judicial resources, something which Justice Barrow spoke about. To apply, there must be an identity of parties, an identity of the cause of action, and a final judgment on the merits from a court of competent jurisdiction. I think the finality of this thing is beyond question. Our apex court, our final court, beyond which this matter cannot go. And for Alan Chasney to go back and say he's going to cure his pleadings by bringing an action against the magistrate, well, that should have been dealt with on appeal. That's what appeal is for, anyway, you know. What I think the CCJ is saying is that, look, these matters were already sufficiently dealt with on appeal. I don't know why the CCJ agreed to head the case. Do they have a right to say, this is a waste of our time, we don't have time to head this thing? Or was it proper for leave to have been granted to him to take it all up to the CCJ? I don't know. How it works, it prevents re-litigation. A party cannot bring a new lawsuit on a claim that was already decided in a prior case. Ensures finality. It makes a final judgment conclusive, so the matter cannot be brought up again. Conserves resources. By preventing endless lawsuits over the same issue, it saves court time and resources. So, I mean, I'm just reading something from that I got online about what the principle of res judicata means. And I believe this is one of them. For res judicata to apply, these conditions are necessary. Identity of parties. The parties in the second lawsuit must be the same or in privity with the parties in the first lawsuit. Final judgment on the merits. The first lawsuit must have resulted in a final decision that ended the litigation. Identity of the cause of action. The claim being brought in the second lawsuit must be the same as the one that was decided on the first. And I can't see how we can bring a different claim in this matter when he's saying that it is the case against Ernest Hilaire that should not have been ended and so on. Real Issues, powered by Blue Waters. We continue taking your calls. 487-9849. That is the number on which you can WhatsApp call us. And you can also reach us on the landline, which is 4533-911. Let me go back to the many text messages that I have there. All right. Someone is asking the question. Hi, Shelton. What are the names of the ring roads in Castries? Should vehicles park on a ring road? Now, I don't really know what is a ring road. Honestly, the last time I heard ring road was used was with reference to the road that branches off from, from the Foasho area, passes where Air and Seaports Authority continues down in the area where the Banana Association used to be before. I remember the then minister responsible for roads and so on, Calix George, used to talk about the construction of the Castries Inner Relief Road. I can't remember if it was a ring road, but what is a ring road? Isn't a road that... I'm sorry, but my mind is not working very well now on what is a ring road. I think I have a vague recollection of what is referred to as a ring road, but I cannot really bring it up to give you an answer on that one. So if anyone understands what is the concept or the principle of a ring road, maybe they can let us know. Let's put up that flyer again, Jaquan, if you have it, about the 22nd annual general meeting for VFO South. And so the VFO South constituency's annual general meeting will be held from 5 p.m. on Wednesday, the 22nd of October, and that will be at the Beanfield Secondary School. It will be featuring the recently endorsed candidate for VFO South, Mr. Danny Butcher. The guest speaker will be the also recently endorsed candidate for Castries Southeast, Senator Lisa Jawahi, she'll be the guest speaker, and will also feature the current MP for VFO South, who has indicated is not standing for election again. That's why Mr. Danny Butcher was endorsed as his replacement, former Prime Minister, Honorable Dr. Kenny D. Anthony. All right? So just wanted to make sure. Someone has said ring roads are Chaussee, Brazil, Jeremy, and Manuel Streets. All right? So someone who I respect as being knowledgeable in these matters is saying that ring roads are Chaussee, Brazil, Jeremy, and Manuel Streets. Okay? So let me see if I can get a page of the judgment, which I believe, let's see, where is that? The CCJ's ruling, downloads, yeah, which will tell us what is the thinking of the CCJ on this matter and whether there's any chance of it coming back again? I think that question is answered in, if not the final paragraph, but certainly in some of the final paragraphs of that ruling. All right, let's see this. What do you have here? Oops. I'm trying to get it. Trying to get it here. Sorry about that, folks. You know, sometimes just scrolling on a small device. Okay. Hi, caller. Real Issues. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, good day. I was just calling to tell him I stand corrected. I was referring to the 2006 election. Yeah, I was referring to 1997. So I just wanted to call out to know I was referring to that time. But this ain't gonna happen this time because you could see there's a national swing and everybody's swinging because the mood is red. So I stand corrected on that. I was referring to 2006 when St. John came back. Yes. Okay, Shelton.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Real Issues powered by Blue Waters. We're taking your calls. WhatsApp call us 487-9849, and you can also reach us on 4533-911. Let's see this there. I'm trying to. All right. The appellant provided no authority or learning on the legal effect of the withdrawal of the charges in the magistrate's court, which on his case was only a purported withdrawal because it was done by the wrong person and was a nullity. The appellant was unhindered in his arguments by reasoning, such as presented by Iboi Osuji J., that the controller's decision to withdraw was merged in the order of discontinuance documented in the records of the magistrate's court, and the decision was no longer available to be undone. So to say he can go back and do it means that he can undo the merger which occurred as early as the magistrate's court, which is the court of first instance. So I think that by itself answers the question of whether he can go back and relodge the case. I don't think so. The merger is not something that you can legally undo, at least not when it has involved a decision by the court actually merging with a decision by an administrative authority. We have a call on the line. Pokes, how are you doing?
Hi there, cool bro. How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
How's the family? Everybody cool?
Everybody's okay.
Saying hello to everybody. I must say I really like the vibe in Mikud South. Last night I was watching the meeting, and I've spoken to my new rep personally, and I'm very pleased with what I'm hearing, and I'm very pleased with what I'm seeing. I just want to encourage the people of Mikud South, once and for all, let us do the same thing that we did in 1997, and let's take our country back.
Let's take our country back.
Yeah, man.
All right. So, I mean, come on. The country is in the hands of a party that won 15-2 at the elections and so on, that has a 15-2 majority. Who are we taking anything back from? Tell me.
According to a lady in the meeting yesterday said,
let's keep our country in good hands. Yeah?
Etel, the guy that built his Mikud South belongs to him.
Oh, you want to say, let's take Mikud South back?
Yes, let's take Mikud South back. My bad.
That sounds better.
Yeah.
Anything else on your mind today?
Well, I just realized that a lot of attention is given to those guys on the other side. I myself, I don't really have time for that. I just want to focus on the voters, let the voters know that all the good work that the government have done, and this is what we want to keep going on. So let's keep the government in power. Let's vote the government. And that saying that people always saying that, we win already. Let us all go out on election day, and this is when we win. So everybody come out. Don't say we win already like in 2016. Let us all go out and vote, and and when it's nighttime, then we could sing the rejoicing song.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, my friend. You know, certain information sent to me suggests that there is some kind of disagreement, some kind of standoff brewing between a union and the public body of St. Lucia. And I hope that they can resolve it, and that they can resolve it quickly and very amicably. But at one of the public sector unions and the public sector body, I had some kind of disagreement. I had some kind of, I don't know if it's already at an impasse stage, but I do hope that they can get it resolved. I have seen some exchange of correspondence that indicates that not that there is animosity, but that there might be a bit of, I don't even know how to frame it, that there might be a bit of strong disagreement in terms of the positions and the path to move forward. And I believe the two bodies are very well placed, the union and the public body in particular, that they're well placed to resolve this reasonably, amicably, and maturely, and I have no doubt that they will do so. Beyond this, I'm not going to say anything else. Someone has sent me a message and says there's no sound. You're the first and only person who has brought up this complaint, so I don't know if it's something particular to you. I can assure you that if it had been something that was widespread, or we might say universal, that I would be peppered, inundated with messages complaining about that. All right. I got charged by a senior police last month end for parking. What I remember he said is that Bridge Street is a part of the ring road, yet Bridge Street has all vehicles, inclusive of police vehicles, parking on it. My friend, if you want to look at the justice and the fairness of things, don't look at police and emergency vehicles, okay? Don't put them as part of the equation that the police are breaking the law. The police define part of their quarters being situated on Bridge Street, and they need place to park it. In other words, don't put yourself on the same level as police and emergency vehicles, that because they park there, you have a right to park there, okay? They are special vehicles providing a special service, emergency services, law enforcement services. In the matter of the rights and the privilege of parking, you are not their equal, period. We have another call on the line. Real Issues.
Good afternoon, Mr. Shelton Daniel. How are you?
I am doing okay, and you?
This is your humble servant, Mr. Peter Chico. I just received a call saying that you wanted to get some information about a post I made.
About what?
About a post I made.
No, not me.
Isn't that Shelton Daniel on Real Issues?
Yes, it is, but I want information of a post that you made.
Okay, well, the information coming to me is that you're discussing the matter, and you're discussing my position in the matter. Is that correct?
Which post is that? Is it the thing that you said about the Bacatel court or something like that?
No, that's not the post.
So
is that what you want to discuss?
What? No, I have not discussed that. Tell me what it is. Tell me what post they told you I was discussing.
Let me to you, Mr. Shelton Daniel.
I am Shelton Daniel, but what did they tell you I was discussing?
I heard you were discussing the matter with the Range Rover.
Yeah, I was discussing that, but I didn't mention your name. I mentioned control of customs and so on. I was reading from the judgment. Yeah, but go ahead. Whatever you want to say it.
Shelton, are you not the same Shelton Daniel who met me and asked me to come and sit on your show to discuss this matter?
I may have done so. I don't recall.
What you may, Shelton, that's Peter Chipo. We are not only you don't only just know me. You know me from school as well. So that's a conversation me and you would have had, because you said to me that you were actually in Antigua and you were just here. You had not spent too much time listening to the matter, but you want me to come and sit on your show to discuss the matter. Isn't that so?
Okay, all right. Go ahead, Mr. Chico. I get the feeling that you're trying to put me on the spot for something unnecessarily. You have called the program. You want to make a point about something, go ahead and make your point.
No, I'm just trying to, because I want to find out if you are the one who said so to me. We are friends, you know, Sheldon.
Okay, so what is the point of if I said so to you that I was in Antigua, I'm not too familiar about this whole thing, that we can talk about it? Okay, well, you're here, well, talk about it. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I'm just telling you now that if you want any information from me, you could feel free to call me and ask me. I just wanted to tell you that on your show and to let your listeners know that I am offering myself to you to answer your questions about that matter.
Okay, what it is specifically that you want? The Range Rover thing has already, it seems, been disposed of by the highest possible court. So what it is that you want to say in addition to that?
Disposed of by the highest possible court. But if you want any information, I just do not want you to say anything that is incorrect.
But Chico, what did I say? Whoever reported to you should say to you, Shelton said XYZ ABC, that you need to respond to. All Shelton did was read from the CCJ's ruling on the matter. Your name was not mentioned. I see Controller of Customs and Paul Noel. I do not know what Paul Noel's position was, whether you were controller at the material time pertaining to the CCJ's ruling. The CCJ has pronounced on the matter.
Right, so you're saying you do not know who was comptroller at the time?
No, that is not mentioned in the CCJ's ruling.
Then you came to me and you asked me to come and discuss it because you knew that I was the comptroller on the matter.
Okay, the CCJ's ruling came out only day before yesterday.
Okay, Shelton, I just wanted to let you know, both you and your listeners know.
And by the way, when you say I came to you, Chico, you and I met inside the Massey store on Manuel Street somewhere there, I think it was. We had not seen each other for a long time. We spoke briefly and so on. How much conversation can you have? I don't know why you sound like you're trying to put me on the spot that I had a conversation with you, which I'm now deviating from. Somebody told you I said something. You did not hear me say it yourself. But it's like you're trying to put me on the spot over something that was reported. We gotta go now. The lotto is on, okay? I'll call you or we'll meet and talk.
For the morning draw of Friday, 17th October 2025 were Big 4, 7, 4, 4, 8. The Big 4 multi-X ball drawn is 2X. Pick 2, 8, 9. The Pick 2 multi-X ball drawn is FB. Lucky 3, 8, 8, 3. The lucky 0. The Big 4 multi-X ball drawn is 5X. Pick 2, 7, 6. The Pick 2 multi-X ball drawn is 3X. 1 off, 0, 7, 2. Lucky 3, 5, 4, 3. The Lucky 3 multi-X ball drawn is 3X.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
McDowell Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins.